I'm Ali from Brooklyn, New York. Check out Jay Conlon Boxing Talk.
What's up, y'all? It's Jay Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's boxing talk. Over the past weekend, we had a lot of good fights. First, on Showtime, over in the UK, we had American heavyweight Dominic Breazeale go over to Great Britain to take on IBF heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. And I gotta tell you right now, I gotta give respect and props to Dominic Breazeale because I had him all wrong. I thought this guy was going to get blown out in the first round, but he came there to fight. He did not come down there to lay down. He fought his heart out. Even though he was limited in his boxing skills, he hanged in there tough, and he was firing back from the very beginning of the fight to the end of the fight, which in the 7th round, Anthony Joshua was able to stop his man. Joshua looked very strong. He looked sharp. He was the quicker fighter in there, landing some good combination punches and landing that big right hand on Dominic Breazeale. But Breazeale showed a sturdy chin that he was able to hang tough, take a lot of punishment in there. His eyes started to close. He was getting beaten up badly in the fight, but he kept on landing some good shots on Anthony Joshua. But the end came in the 7th round when Anthony dropped him and had his man badly hurt, and the fight was stopped.
If you're talking the hardest, gigs better pop up in your thoughts as an artist. Jeez. Talk in the market, everybody wants to know where walk in the park is. Walk in the party, sporting a Marnie. Half of the crowds all snorting my Charlie. Sorted the bar, time to sort the panani. Chicks looking at me like, talk to me darling. Hollering at man, winking, smiling and wanna attack man. I think these lighties loving my black gang. Everyone suits same colour as Batman's. Flipping like a quarter or a brick. Bag 28 with a thought of a jib. Anybody thinks they can talk to my clip, well then I'm covered in red like a portion of chips. Pour me a drink. Big fur jacket, that's the thoughts of a pimp. I used to be quiet, did that sort anything? So I had to run right when I bought me a ting. Walk with my ting, peddling morphine. Them times there, I was licking out more green. Skip couple years, 07 the story. Now I'm hollow man with some heavy Dior jeans.
I must say it was a very good fight while it lasted. Anthony Joshua showed that he is one of the top heavyweights out there. This was the second time that he went to the 7th round. Last time against Dillian White, and this time against Dominic Breazeale. But is he ready for the big fights? Is he ready for guys like Deontay Wilder or even Luis Ortiz, which many people believe Ortiz is perhaps the future of the heavyweight division? I think that this guy is the real deal. I believe that he has the quicker hands and also the very good skills with punching power to beat a lot of heavyweights out there. And I would love to see him fight Deontay Wilder. But I don't see that fight happening this year. Even though it's a title unification that could possibly happen in the fall, I believe that the route that Eddie Hearns, Anthony Joshua's promoter, is going to take is against his mandatory challenger, which is Joseph Parker. A very interesting fight that's going to attract a lot of attention in the UK because these are two young, undefeated fighters with hard-hitting punching power, and it's going to be an explosive matchup and a very big ticket seller in the UK. So I expect that fight to happen possibly in November or December between Parker and Joshua. And then next year, we could see possibly Wilder versus Anthony Joshua or even Joseph Parker, because you can't count them out. He is a very good, talented young fighter that hasn't fought the best competition, but he's a fighter out there that's very dangerous. So we have to see how that fight is going to be played out, hopefully later this year. Now moving along over to the United States, on CBS, Premier Boxing Champions brought you one of the best fights of the year when welterweight champion Keith one-time Thurman took on Shawn Showtime Porter. These guys went at it from the opening bell to the final round. It was an excellent matchup, but let's not get ahead of ourselves right here. We all know that the Fight of the Year candidate is definitely Francisco Vargas versus Orlando Salido, because that was an instant classic of nonstop action from the opening bell to the final bell. That is not going to be topped by this fight right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, it was a great fight between Thurman and Porter, but it's not beating Vargas Salido. Now, back to the fight. Shawn Porter was very aggressive. He was putting on a lot of pressure, coming forward, and he was landing some hard shots against Thurman. He was basically mugging Thurman in that fight. Now, Thurman was moving a lot in that fight, and he was trying to move, use his jab, land some clean punches. He landed a lot of clean shots on Porter. Porter was hurt by the big shots that Thurman was landing, but Porter was hurting Thurman to the body with those beautiful body shots. This man cannot take it to the body. He was hurt against Luis Collazo, and he was hurt once again in this fight against Shawn Porter. Keith Thurman has a weakness, and we know that it's the body punching. And here's something that a lot of opponents in the future are going to target.
It has been nearly 40 years since boxing has been seen here on primetime CBS. Can't think of a better fight to bring the sweet science back to the masses. It's showtime! Heavy exchange. Oh, and Porter's knee buckled, but a counter right hand from Porter.
The winner of this main event believes that he can lay claim to being the best fighter in this division.
Boy, they are throwing leather punches and bunches. What a fight! And still,
Thurman made it a very good fight, and I believe that this fight was a close fight, but I gave this fight to Shawn Porter. I scored it for Shawn Porter 7 rounds to 5. I just saw Shawn Porter outworking Keith Thurman in this fight and winning this fight. Very close fight, or it could have been a draw at best, but not a victory for Keith Thurman. I was going for Keith Thurman, but I saw Keith Thurman not pulling out the victory, not doing enough. He landed a lot of good shots, and he was very good in this fight. He moved well in this fight, but I just didn't see him winning. I think this fight by Keith Thurman gave us a lot more questions than answers. I don't see him as the very best welterweight in the world like a lot of people were expecting to crown him. I believe that he is one of the top 3 welterweights in the world, and I see guys like Timothy Bradley that will beat both of these men. And I also see Danny Garcia as a live fighter, 50-50 shot against Keith Thurman. That's a fight that many boxing fans want to see, and I don't believe that that fight is going to happen this year. I believe it will happen sometime in the beginning of next year. It's a great matchup, but Danny Garcia, even though I'll be rooting for Keith Thurman, and I believe that Keith Thurman can beat Danny Garcia, I believe that Danny Garcia has a very good shot to pull out victory against Keith Thurman. But that's a fight that we're going to have to wait for because it won't happen this year. Now, also, a guy like Keith Thurman versus Kell Brook, I see Kell Brook as a very strong fighter with good skills and enough punching power to hurt Keith Thurman and possibly beat Keith Thurman if they ever fought. I see Kell Brooks as perhaps the 2nd or 3rd best welterweight in the world, in the mix with Bradley and Thurman. But the guy to watch out for as the future of the division is Errol Spence Jr. This guy, I know he hasn't fought anybody that's A-level yet to define him, but I believe that his punching power and his skills is definitely enough to give Keith Thurman a lot of problems. And I would love to see that fight because I give Errol Spence Jr. a lot more credit and more of a chance to win that fight. I think Thurman is definitely beatable in a fight against Errol Spence Jr. But we have to see how the fights play out. That's my recap over the weekend. I would like to thank everyone that has tuned in and has watched me over a year now on YouTube and on Facebook and on Instagram. Please follow me on Instagram. Also join that Facebook boxing group page, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. And also follow me on Twitter at J. Calderon Boxing. I'm J. Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support. Keep watching and subscribe.